Hi everyone. My name is Angie, and I'm in grade 11. And the school I attend is Notre Dame Secondary School, and I'm going to be one of the hosts for today. So we want to welcome everyone to our second session of National Youth Week, and we're going to be talking about the power of youth today. And today's session is about leadership, and we're going to be talking to some great youth leaders and what leadership means to them.
All week we have activities on Wednesday, all about using the arts to raise awareness, and then on Friday we'll be talking about mental health. Also check out other #National Youth Week activities from the city of Brampton and the city of Mississauga.
So Sean is going to be displaying some youth volunteer opportunities, and you can find these opportunities on the Volunteer NBC service provider, on the Volunteer NBC website, and these are just some opportunities that anyone can apply for if they're interested.
So before we introduce our guests for today, we wanted to give you guys a quick introduction about what exactly Volunteer NBC is. VNB stands for Mississauga, Caledon, and Brampton. And VNBC is composed of over 200 nonprofit organizations and people. The purpose of the organization is to improve lives through volunteerism and connect people to the causes that need them.
Okay, our first guest today for today is Charmaine from Caring Connecting Pen Pal Initiative, and we want to ask. And so, can you introduce yourself and your organization?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, Anjali. So, like you said, my name is Charmaine, and I am the founder and current president of the Caring and Connecting Pen Pal Initiative. And what this initiative aims to do is to mitigate the isolation that seniors are facing throughout the pandemic, and also community members. And it's a pen pal initiative. So what happens is we connect community volunteers, volunteer pen pals, with seniors in long-term care homes and retirement homes. But we do it through one-way letters of kindness. So these volunteers write letters, and they are sent to these homes, staff at these long-term care homes and retirement homes, and they're printed off and given to the residents to, show them that the world is caring about them at this time, even though sometimes they can't have visitors because of lockdowns. But it's just to bring some connection during this difficult time.
That sounds really great.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how exactly it started?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure, Jenny. That's a great question. So basically, the initiative started back in March, not this March, last March. So at the beginning of the pandemic, in March 2020, I saw the lockdowns occurring in long-term care homes. And one thing about me is that I am very passionate about the older generation. I love older adults. I think that comes from the closeness that I have with my grandmother. But as soon as I heard on the news that older adults weren't able to have, the visitors come in that they used to, whether those be volunteers or their own family members, I was very concerned. So I thought, how could we safely connect these seniors with community members who were also feeling isolated at that time? Because if you remember, we were all ordered to stay at home, and it was very difficult for all of us. So I thought of this virtual pen pal initiative idea. And initially, I was wondering how a pen pal initiative could work, but I thought if it's virtual, it is more feasible because there doesn't have to be volunteers going into the homes to deliver the paper letters. It can just all be online. So it started off as a small idea, but I ran it by a friend of mine, and with her support, we collaborated, and we were able to start very small in our own towns, but we were able to really build this to a greater level across Canada, which is amazing, with definitely help from people along the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of amazing volunteer organizations started at the beginning of the pandemic, and I think it's really great how far along you've come with your volunteer organization.
So as you said, you started this organization last year, so I'm pretty sure there was like a lot of challenges that came along the way. So, would you like to talk about them?
I think that would be great. I definitely will, Anjali. So you're right. No efforts come without their challenges, right? So at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, I think our team, especially my partner and I, who grew the organization, we initially had difficulty getting people to write letters. Like, we had a few come in, but in order to receive enough letters, in order to send to the homes, and in order to reach enough residents, it was quite challenging. But we learned at that point that we needed to really make use of the connections that we had. So reach out to our friends, and ask them to write letters. Reach out to people that have from other volunteer organizations that we knew that might be able to connect us with volunteers. And eventually the word spread, and we were able to get an adequate amount of volunteers. And it's funny because I guess I can talk about our current challenge now has been to receiving so much support, because in order to address the challenge that we had at the beginning, like I said, we reached out to organizations to recruit volunteers. And one of those organizations that offered help to us was Volunteer NBC. And Shan has been amazing with that. And we've received so many, in this case, students who have wanted to write letters and become involved. But the thing is, now we're receiving so many letters that it's kind of difficult to manage that. So what we've been doing now is, like I've relied on people such as Shan, who are leaders themselves, and also even my own mentor Chelsea, from when I was in university, who also has a similar volunteer initiative, just reaching out to these people and these leaders and asking them how to manage and go forward in order to streamline the process to make it easier on my team, which is a little smaller at the moment. So I think that is one thing, is just being open to listening and reaching out for help.
On a completely different note, I actually heard that you've been like featured on the media. So what was it like to be featured on the media news?
Thank you for asking that question, Jenny. I think that kind of, yeah, so at the beginning, like I said, one of the challenges was getting people. And like I said, we reached out to our friends and organizations, but one of the main tools that we ended up being able to use was brought like national media, newspapers, and those really helped to spread the word and recruit volunteers, which was amazing. So initially, a local reporter reached out to us in my hometown, and it started off as a small, regional newspaper article about a local pen pal initiative. But that eventually captured the attention of CBC, and CBC reached out to us and wanted to do an article on us, and that really, ignited something. And it really, since it was a national article, it really captured the attention of many people, and then that even led to, CTV hearing about us, and we ended up having the opportunity to share about our initiative on CTV as well. So that is really, I think, just these these organizations that really supported us along the way, and such as CBC, CTV, and even the Globe and Mail, that has made a lot of difference. So I think we're very grateful for that exposure that we've had.
As like there's like a lot of people interested, obviously, in volunteering with your organization. What would you say to like others that are like looking to get involved and like looking for like volunteer opportunities with your organization?
Okay, sorry, just to clarify, volunteers who would like to get involved with our initiative, or
Yeah,
maybe others who would
and
want
just
to
like
start
just
their
volunteering. Like no, others people like that want to get involved with you, like in your
with
organization.
me. Okay, for sure.
Mhm.
So if you want to get involved in our initiative, we are still accepting people who are writing letters. Like I said, we have received quite a few letters, but I think one area that we might need help in the future is editing these letters. So that would involve screening the letters to make sure that they are appropriate to be given to the residents, and making sure that they're accessible for seniors to read in terms of font size, and just layout on the page. So you can definitely send an email, and we can see if we can use your letters at this time, but we can also put you on a list and reach out to you if you'd like to help out in the future in terms of being an editor. And one way we have been accepting emails, but you can also find our listing currently on the Volunteer in BC website. So you can check us out on there. But yeah, that's one way to get in contact with us. But I think you'll also be provided with our Facebook page and Instagram, so you can always keep up to date with what's happening with our initiative on there as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's it for right now, and we'll return back to Charmaine after introducing the next two guests. Our next guest is Taj Paul from My Volunteer. Hi. To start off, can you introduce yourself and the organization you volunteer for?
Here today, and it's a charitable organization, and I've been the secretary at My Volunteer for around 1 month now. And in the past, they've been known for doing some cleanups around the community, and planting, gardening, and just helping out within the community.
Okay, as you said, you've been like volunteering with this organization for like about like 1 month. Why did you
Yes.
join it?
So firstly, I joined during the lockdown as I found myself there was honestly not much to do, and but now I can say certainly I'll be staying for like the long run, as I've just found like staying within the organization, building friends. It's uh, it's pretty fun, and honestly, you get to work for a great cause, for something bigger, and I can look forward to the summer or when everything opens up, as they've done cleanups around the community and much more.
Yeah, I think just like I told Charmaine, Charmaine, not only have a lot of people started volunteer organizations during like the pandemic, but people have also um, started actually volunteering, which is like what you did. So I think
Yeah.
that's really great. Um, do you know how? Can you tell us how your organization itself started?
So personally, Daniel, who is the president of the organization, he started it, and I just joined right now. So we could have him on another time, and it would be great to discuss with him.
That sounds that yeah, that's like a really good idea.
Yeah,
Um, going back to like your volunteering experience. So, what do you enjoy most about volunteering?
I really enjoy, especially meetings with everyone, as I've seen that I've slowly improved on my public speaking and working together. And in meetings, you get to just discuss what you've done. You can talk about some other things, and working on projects together. I really have enjoyed that so far.
So,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
you can go.
Okay. What would you say to anyone who wanted to like get involved with the organization that you volunteer for? Like, how can they get involved too?
Okay, My Volunteer has a website where you can apply to be a volunteer for any role, and I would personally say right now is a great time, especially if you don't like meeting like new people or get anxious, as you can build a connection online and just get to know each other before you actually meet in person, and you can have a feel of things, how everything runs. And I would say definitely start right now.
So you're talking about like all these volunteer opportunities, and like as we're like in a pandemic right now, like everything's virtual. So like, how is your organization dealing with that right now?
So for now, we've been having everything online over virtual calls and meetings to ensure we're following COVID lockdown rules. And but we plan to get out there as soon as the restrictions go away. Yeah.
Are there any like specific volunteer opportunities available for like students, youth right now?
For there's general member volunteer opportunities, I believe, which can be found on the My Volunteer website.
Okay, so it was great hearing about you and your organization and your volunteering experience. So I think that's it for now, and we're going to be moving on to LJ. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi LJ. This is LJ from the Community Climate Council, and we're going to start off by asking you about like, can you tell us about yourself and your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I think that was a good start. My name is LJ, and I am in fact from the Community Climate Council. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a pleasure being able to speak with all of you, and being able to hear from our other panelists. I have to say, I'm already interested in each of the different panelists and the communities or the groups that they're from. I'm not even saying this to exaggerate. I think I'm going to sign up with the Caring Pen Pal initiative. That sounds really, really amazing. But enough about them. Let's talk about me and the Community Climate Council. So the Community Climate Council is an ENGO. It's an environmental non-government organization. We're based out of the Peel region, and we're basically striving to take climate action that's fighting climate change, and specifically in the Peel region. And we try to do that through climate literacy. So we try to teach the public about climate change and its many effects and how we can work as a community to really fight against it. And we also try to do other things where we, bring the community together and build that community resilience so that we are more resilient against climate change and its many adverse effects.
It's kind of funny how you volunteer for a climate organization, because all I've been hearing on social media within my classes is um, about climate change and the issues present in the world right now. But yeah, can you tell us how your organization like started?
Yeah, actually, I believe one of our founders was on your show maybe last week, Miranda Batch. I believe she spoke with Sean for a little bit, but our organization was founded by 5 women, actually: Miranda, Sam, Aneta, Divya, and Mia. And they came together during this, I guess, climate action project, where they were tasked with pitching an idea to tackle climate change in a community-focused setting. And the Community Climate Council was the product of that. Their idea was to implement this local community group that would work with the local community in order to fight climate change in a more direct and more impactful way that does it also in a little more fun and engaging manner as well.
Oh, that sounds like really great. So why do you think climate change is like important, especially during COVID?
Yeah, I think um, the I guess the similarity I always try to draw between climate change and COVID is that prevention is better than the cure. And you'll see that with COVID because this could have all been prevented if we had, shut down earlier, if we had taken more precautions. And I hope that's the same lesson people take away when we think about climate change. We don't want to wait 10, 15 years into the future when we see every single iceberg has melted and there's nothing left of our land except our shores being drowned. Essentially, we don't want to see massive droughts. I don't want it to come to the point where we see the adverse effects right there in front of us. I'd like us to take action now so that we can prevent these awful things. And I hope that COVID helped people see the importance of taking action earlier rather than later.
To anyone who's like out there listening to you, who wants to like get involved with your organization, what do you tell them?
Oh my God, sign up right now, please. We need help. We're always looking for people. So our website, the communityclimatecouncil.org, just communityclimatecouncil.org. If you go to our website, you'll see, you'll learn much more about us than I can really sit here and tell you about because I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of things. Oh, you typed it up there. Nice. So if you head over there, communityclimatecouncil.org, and then you go to the Connect tab and then join us, you'll see a list of postings and positions that work. Like I said, always looking for new positions. So if these ones don't line up with what you're interested in at the moment, give it a few months' time, and I'm sure we'll be looking for something that's more suited to your personal interests.
What made you want to join this organization?
Yeah, kind of a funny and sad story actually. I lost my job in March of 2020 with the pandemic. When everything shut down, and my employer was also like, "Yeah, we're shutting down. Also, we're gonna have to let you go." I was like, "Okay, cool, I guess." So I had nothing to do. I was bored out of my mind. I'd always been interested in, the environment and sustainability and climate change, and I happened just sheer coincidence. I happened upon Community Climate Council on Instagram, and I decided to apply because, well, I was, like I said, passionate about climate change, and I wanted to use my time for something good and bring about some sort of progress or some sort of with my local community. So
Before you cut out, you said that you started volunteering at the beginning of the pandemic. So I think just like Taj Paul, I think it was Taj Paul who also started volunteering at the beginning of the pandemic. Um,
I think she also
me
got
or
off. Jenny, did you? I think um, I think everyone's cutting off for me right now. Okay. Hello? Are you
hello?
there? Oh yeah, sorry. I think you also got frozen for me. Okay, so I'm not sure what she was going to say, but as she said, you were gonna you started volunteering because of the pandemic. Did you have any previous volunteering opportunities, and like what did you ever have previous volunteering experience that you enjoyed? And if so, what did you enjoy most about it? And you can even talk about your the current organization.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, please let me know if I cut out because my thing is very blurry and I don't know when I'm gonna
Okay.
just be kicked.
Okay.
But right before the pandemic started, actually, I was volunteering with Knight's Table here in Brampton, and I think people in the Brampton area know about Knight's Table. It's this food bank and a soup kitchen I honestly really enjoyed my time there because I felt like I was really making a direct impact on the community. I was there for like 2 months, from January to the end of February, maybe early March, before they had to shut down due to the pandemic. It was fun. It was fun for me because, like I said, I was being directly involved in the community, and I was also getting to cook and I guess cooking, I should mention, is another hobby of mine. I was also getting the chance to with local community members and get to know some of these people in these impoverished, like low income areas. It was nice to hear their stories and like hear where they're coming from, like what's going on with them. It was, I don't know, it was just a very fulfilling experience, and I'm really hoping that once things return to normal, I'll be able to go back there again because I did thoroughly enjoy that.
I agree. I've been wanting to like volunteer for night stuff for a while, but like I never got the opportunity, and like the pandemic came. Um, so going back to your organization, so like if anyone like was like they want to like volunteer for your organization, what would you say like the commitment, like how much commitment would it need to be in your organization?
So it varies based on roles, and I think we've actually like lowered our expectations for the summer because we know everyone wants to go outside and like have fun during the summer times. But currently, I think we're looking at 4 to 8 hours per week, depending on the role. But yeah, that's the standard for now as to what we'd expect, or what you should expect to, I guess, put in if you're going to volunteer with us.
Okay, so I think that's it for now, and thank you for sharing with us. And I think we're going to be heading to the group discussion now.
Thank you so much.
Well, I just um oh yeah, so basically we're just gonna have like a leadership discussion right now. So how would I'm just gonna ask like an overall question, and like feel free to like answer if you want. So how is there leadership in your organizations? Like how can you take leadership while volunteering in your organizations?
So I would say this applies for any organization. If you see any work that's undone or someone still has to do, you can always step in, help out, and that just goes a long way. It shows to the leaders and everyone that you're willing to step up, and then you can get a higher leadership role and just help out to everyone.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry, I'm just kind of scared to go because I'm like a little behind everyone, so I don't want to cut anyone off. But in terms of leadership, I think Taj Paul did it very well, where there's always going to be leadership opportunities, and it's just a matter of, I guess, being brave enough to step up to them. And I think especially goes for youth because youth are so often disenfranchised and they don't feel necessarily welcome sometimes, especially when there's adults involved. And I can say that from my own personal experience. You can feel like maybe you don't have the right experience or skill set that some of these adults do, and it can be a little daunting. But like Teshpal said, if there's an opportunity to take it, it's only going to help better serve you. And for all you know, you're going to be a big help to someone else as well. So definitely go for it.
And thank you so much for sharing, both of you too. I think you guys brought up really great points. And I think for me, and at least in the Pen Pal initiative, there's definitely room to become a leader. And there's different levels of leadership that you can have within the initiative as well. I know some of our volunteers have they've written a letter, but they've also taken like the initiative to reach out to homes in their area and kind of coordinate and have them become recipients of our letters as well, and kind of take on that liaison role. So there's that. And then there's also, previously we've had volunteers come on and like I said, assist with editing letters, but they've been able to provide input to the team and really contribute that way as well. So there's different levels of leadership that you can have when volunteering with our organization. So yeah, and I think the main thing is that we will support you however you want to become involved.
Why do you think it's important for the youth to take leadership in our community?
I guess I'll take this one first. Again, I'm scared to go. Okay, but okay, cool. I guess to touch on my previous point, sometimes youth don't get those same opportunities, especially with leadership. And I think that has to do because oftentimes we conflate age with experience. And, a lot of people are under the notion that if you're not old enough, you're not experienced. And experience also comes in different forms. It's not necessarily try to ensure that they have lived life, whether it be with climate change or whether it's with having experiences with disenfranchised and minority groups. So yeah, it's just mistaking age for experience. I think that's the big one for why there are such, or why there could be more opportunities for youth in leadership roles.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I would say that you shouldn't be intimidated by anyone older, as the younger you start, the sooner you start, you just get more experience, and eventually you'll catch up either way. And it's just a matter of time of when you start, and that's about it.
Yes, I think, like I said, those are very important points, and like you just said, I think it's very important to get started early, because then you can kind of it's kind of like trial and error. You see, where you might need to improve, or like what could have been done differently. And I guess just one thing I'd like to touch on is when I was in high school, I tried to start a small initiative within my high school called the Wise Souls Young Spirits Initiative to connect my peers with um, residents at a local retirement residence. And it was very difficult because I was in grade 12 at the time, and it was kind of hard to get something like that started and to be able to get my peers interested and coordinate them receiving police checks, making sure that they don't get lost in the process. And it was a lot of trial and error. And I think that experience really helped me when starting this initiative, this Pen Pal initiative, how many years later. So without that experience, I might have, made the same mistakes as I did when I was, in high school. So I'm very thankful that I took that opportunity to engage in leadership back when I was like 17. So now here I am at 24, and I've learned from the mistakes that I made back then. And I think it's just so important for youth to just kind of jump in, and it'll help them in the future as well. Because leadership is a process. It's not destination either. You're continually growing. So
You all talked about why it's important for youth to be leaders in our community, but can you go into more depth as to what exactly are the skills and assets they need in order to be leaders?
oh, I could touch on that. I know I just finished speaking, but in terms of skills, I feel like what I've kind of experienced is that listening to me has been the most important skill. And for example, at the beginning of the pandemic, the whole, how the initiative came to be was just by listening to what my community needed. And I guess kind of also listening to how I wanted to help out, because like I said, I have an interest in seniors. And I knew that lockdowns were occurring, and seniors needed connection. So I think it's listening to the needs of your community, but then also listening to the needs of volunteers that want to support you as well. So listening, maybe they need help getting involved in your initiative. That happened to me. A lot of some of my team that came on to help edit letters, they were requiring some assistance and just guidance in order to be comfortable. So I think that's important as well. And just thirdly, just listening to yourself. And I think sometimes we, skip over that when it comes to, listening. But I think you also have to be able to listen to yourself and know your own limitations when you're stressed out, if you need help as a leader. And so you have to be open to reaching out to people for support, whether that be your friends for emotional support or your mentors and other people who are also leaders that can support you in leading your initiative. So I think listening is really an important skill to have.
And also, just building on top of that, I would say it would just be displaying enthusiasm, whether you're interested in helping seniors or helping the environment. As if you're enthusiastic about something, you'll eventually want to work more harder and put in more effort just to work towards your goal, and it will just come naturally.
Yeah, and to, I guess, add on to what my co-panelists here have said, I think being a leader is also just about empowering your team. And I think that goes quite a bit along with what Charmaine was talking about in terms of listening. You want to be able to, a good leader is someone who not just takes charge, but also works to ensure that their team is working to their full potential and being able to do everything to the best of their ability, not just as the individual, but as the team.
What exactly does it mean to you guys to be a leader?
I would definitely say courage has something to do with it, as you have to take risks as being a leader, and you always have to be the one stepping up or taking on the extra work. Yeah.
I think for me, one part of like what leadership means to me, a lot of it is patience. So patience, getting started, from the time that you have this idea, it doesn't just come to fruition. It takes patience to be able to think how you're going to build this idea, but then also it takes patience to, like I said, be the leader of a team. So just being able to take the time to work with your team members and really support them, and just be patient throughout the process. And I think that really helps as well.
So, as you guys have like really important roles in being part of your organization, what are the hardest parts about leading an initiative?
Alright, I can start. I would definitely say that it has to be that there's no one else guiding you, and it just comes down to you and what you're willing to do. As you have to see what's next on the table, what do you approach next, what are your next goals for the whole organizations, and work towards that as a whole, and set up meetings constantly, and just make sure that everyone's on track, and all of you guys have the same goal in mind.
Mm. Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that I have experienced in my leadership role is just being able to kind of have a balance. I think that's really important and sometimes challenging. Just to be able to balance, building the initiative and making sure it's still able to be managed, with other areas of your life, such as work and school. I think that's so important. And just being able to open that conversation, and as a leader, being able to delegate certain tasks to others who want to build leadership skills as well, and not just taking that all on yourself. So I think that's something that I've learned.
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat the question? Because I, I definitely cut out
Yeah, yeah.
when that was asked.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, so as you have like an important role in your organization, what would you say are the hardest parts and about leading an initiative?
Yeah, I think actually Charmaine had a wonderful response there. It's really delegating tasks and learning to say no. Learning to say no to, because as a leader, you're going to have all these opportunities to get all these amazing experiences and do all these different tasks. As a leader, you also have to be accountable and responsible for ensuring that everything on that project or that specific is going according to plan, and you need to learn to prioritize which tasks you need to do and which tasks you need to delegate to others and which tasks maybe aren't worth even doing right now. For me, that's honestly been the hardest part. So I do resonate with that, or that resonates with me.
I think I can speak on behalf of both me and Anjali when I say that everything that you guys touched upon is like relevant in our lives too, because we also volunteer in the community and we also, are leaders like you guys. But but we also recognize the importance not only leaders but also the team itself. So can you guys like talk about how you go about building a team?
Yeah, I can speak before I get cut out again, as I do. um, just being, I guess the key to making a good team is having a great team culture and making sure everyone is on the same page and everyone is, maybe even if you're not best friends, at least friendly, and making sure that you all enjoy the work that you do. Because I think Taj Paul touched on this earlier. It's all about enthusiasm. The more enthusiastic you are about the work that you do, the better job that you're going to do. My team right now at Political Advocacy, I love them so much. It's composed of myself, these two wonderful ladies, Bonnie and Divya, and we just get along so well. We're like best friends, basically. We just sit around, we joke most of the time, and whenever it's time to actually do work, we do work because we love the job and we genuinely enjoy working with each other. So yeah, ultimately it comes down to culture and ensuring that you all get along and all enjoy the same stuff.
I guess I could go next. I think LJ, you touched on so many great things. It's definitely about the culture. And I remember, when we were taking on team members to assist with, editing letters. Many months ago, I was talking with my mentor Chelsea, who, like I said, runs her own organization that connects children and students with seniors through music, and she really emphasized the importance of communication with your team. So being able to check in with them and making sure that they feel comfortable bringing up, issues that they might be facing, or areas where they're uncomfortable, or maybe even if they disagree with something or a decision that you've made, just making sure that they're comfortable to be able to voice their opinion, and so that they know that they'll be heard. Like I said, LJ touched on this. It's so important to making sure that your team is strong and cohesive, because Chelsea checks in with her, partner every day to make sure that they're on the same page. And she told me, like, you can't have a team that doesn't feel safe with each other and that isn't cohesive. So I think that's one thing that you should always do, is make sure that your team is solid and that everyone feels like they're heard.
Yeah, I would say you and your team having like the same goal and working together always. And you also have to know what positions to assign to who, as not everyone is gonna be there for a year or 2 years. And some people may just be volunteering for a summer or two, and so you just have to look at all those roles and see what works together.
Those are really great replies. I think they're really like relatable and like for like anyone that like volunteers. And I think that was our last question for today. And I want to say thank you for everyone for sharing, and we learned a lot.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having us as well on behalf of my volunteer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anjali and Jenny and Shannon, for organizing this. And also both my co-panelists, like, thank you guys so much for sharing about your initiatives as well. You guys are doing great work.
You guys are stealing all the thank yous, but yes, thank you as well. It's been great being here. It's been a lovely event. I wish my connection was a little bit better, so we could have actually spoken a little more. But it was a great experience. Thank you for having us.
I think Jenny's frozen. Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh yeah, so just a reminder for everyone is that we're going to be having another session on Wednesday and using the arts to raise awareness. And then on Friday, we will be talking about mental health. And thank you to the Ontario Trillium Foundation for supporting the work of Volunteer NBC to promote volunteerism to the youth in our community. Bye.